Again, most welcome in another episode of miscellaneous video. As of February 2026, an intense tug of war has emerged between the Supreme Court of India, Apex Court, the National Council of Educational Research and Training, and the central government regarding the content of a new school textbooks. The conflict centers on a Class 8 social science textbook, Exploring Society, India and Beyond, Volume 2, which included a chapter on the role of the judiciary in our society, containing references to corruption at various levels of the judiciary. Here is the breakdown of the roles and perspectives in this conflict. The Supreme Court's position: defamation of institution. The Chief Justice of India, CJI, Surya took serious exception to the content, calling it a calculative move and a deep-rooted conspiracy to defame the judiciary. Suo motu action. The court initiated suo motu on its own proceedings, expressing grave concern that such material could undermine public trust in the judicial system. Blanket ban and seizure. The Apex Court imposed a complete ban on the printing, digital and physical distribution of the books, ordering the seizure of all copies nationwide. Demanding accountability. The court issued so-called notices to the Ncert director, demanding to know who authorized the content and insisting that heads must roll. Ncert's role and action. Initial inclusion. Ncert introduced the section in the new curriculum which marked a shift from earlier editions, focusing on challenges like corruption and massive backlogs, withdrawal and apology. Following the Supreme Court's strong rebuke, Ncert quickly apologized for the error of judgment and withdrew the textbook from its website and sale. Commitment to rewrite. Ncert promised to rewrite the chapter in consultation with appropriate authorities for the 2026-27 academic session. The central government's position: action against content. High-level government sources stated the section should not have been written and that the content was inappropriate for Class 8 students. Damage control. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan ordered a probe to fix the accountability, assuring action against officials responsible for approving the content. Apology in court. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, representing the centre, tendered an unconditional apology before the Supreme Court. Key points of tension: judicial independence versus academic freedom. While Ncert may have intended to educate students on institutional challenges, the Supreme Court viewed it as an attack on judicial independence. Balanced perspective. Government sources argued that if corruption is discussed, it should not be only target the judiciary but also include the executive and legislature to provide a balanced perspective. Impact on young minds. Both the court and the government expressed concern about exposing young students to such content. The matter is ongoing, with the Supreme Court scheduled to hear the case again after a thorough review of the compliance reports on the seizure of the books. Again, this is artificial intelligence mode. As of February 2026, the tug of war between the Supreme Court, Apex Court, and Ncert and central government centers on a controversial chapter in the new in the new class 8 social science textbook, Exploring Society, India and Beyond, Volume 2. The conflict erupted when the textbook included a section titled Corruption in the Judiciary within a chapter on the role of the courts. Key points of the conflict: the Supreme Court's stance, led by Chief Justice of India, Surya, the court took suo motu cognizance of the matter, describing the content as a calculated move to undermine the institution and a deep-rooted conspiracy. The CJI stated he would not allow anyone to defame the institution and warned that heads must roll to ensure accountability. NCERT's response following the court's rebuke: NCERT termed the inclusion an error of judgment and issued an apology. They have halted the book's distribution and committed to rewriting the chapter in consultation with appropriate authorities for the 2026-27 academic session. Central government's role: the center, through the Solicitor General, apologized in court and assured that those responsible for the offending chapter would be held accountable and barred from future involvement with the Ministry of Education. The Education Minister expressed regret, stating the government would ensure such incidents do not recur. Current legal status: blanket ban. The Supreme Court has imposed a complete ban on the reprinting and digital dissemination of the textbook. Seizure order: the court directed the immediate seizure of all physical and digital copies from schools and retail outlets. Contempt notices: so-called notice under the Contempt of Court Act have been issued to the NCERT Director and the Secretary of the Department of School Education. Investigation: the court has demanded the names of National Syllabi Board members who approved the chapter and the minutes of the meetings where it was finalized. The Judiciary's primary objection is that teaching formative age students about judicial corruption without balanced context on the court's role as a protector of the fundamental rights is fundamentally improper and regressive. Would you like to see a list of the specific experts or committees responsible for the drafting these curriculum changes? Thanks. Regards.